Welcome back. It's time for Space Watch. Joining me is ANU astrophysicist and cosmologist Brad Tucker here in the studio again. Great to see you. We're talking about an arrival coming to the South Australian desert, originally from Japan, this space explorer that's been out getting some asteroid rocks.
That's right, Hayabusa 2. It's been a long time coming, and it's set to land in South Australia in Woomera around 3:50 a.m. Local time. So Hayabusa 2 went out and reached the asteroid Ryugu. So it was launched about 8 years ago, reached the asteroid in 2018 and to 2019.
What are the speeds they're travelling there when it reaches the asteroid?
Yeah, so you're reaching at about 70,000 kilometres an hour to actually approach the asteroid.
Right.
So you shoot off from the Earth, you slingshot you out, and then you approach from behind and reach up at the asteroid and do it. And so what they actually did is what we're seeing here as an animation is they had to do three touchdown maneuvers, and then on their way back they had to do essentially like 3 small turns to meet up with Earth in the right path.
Right.
Because if they just leave from the asteroid, you don't actually end up hitting the Earth. So you kind of have to go.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so a lot of work to get it.
Getting on it, is it like you're driving along in a car and you've got to be going the exact same speed as the car next to you and someone would climb, I mean, not that we do this, but if you know, like the movies and you climb in the window or something.
That's right, you have to pull alongside, match your speeds, and then kind of do it. Because when they did a touchdown where they went to the surface and popped off, and they did that 3 times to collecting this rock. So it's a big technological achievement. And it's great to see Australia playing a central role in this, to be honest.
It's a long way to go for some rocks.
It is a long way.
What are they going to tell us?
So, yeah, one of the goals here is to understand about what these asteroids are made up of. What is the composition of it? That's both to understand the solar system. So asteroids are kind of the leftover bits of the solar system. Also, we want to understand the densities of it. So in the event we have, say, a dangerous asteroid that we need to Armageddon-style Bruce Willis it, how dense is it? Is it kind of a clumpy?
Now that's useful. I'm on board.
See, that's right. So if you know what the material it is and how solid it is, that can tell us what to do about that asteroid.
Okay. Tick. Good. Well done. Next one. There's always a lot of debate about terminology.
Yes.
We all remember what happened to poor old Pluto.
Yeah.
We're talking about a debate now whether something's a mini-moon or space junk. Who won the argument?
Yeah, so, and this has been a long debate. So what happened was an object called 2020 SO was observed.
This all looks pretty vague and grainy.
So what it is, they're actually trying to lock onto the object here. So we're looking at background stars, and what they're trying to do in the crosshairs is acquire the object.
Right.
And then by following the object, we can establish its orbit. So the question is, we had this object, which is centered there, entered our Earth's atmosphere, or near our Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah.
And the question is, was this a piece of small rock, so this is a better animation of it, that reached the Earth, or is this actually an old rocket booster? So this appeared to come from the orbit of the moon. And so what we think actually happened was
So if something's in the orbit of the moon, it's a mini-moon?
So if it's orbit around Earth, it's a mini-moon.
Right. What if it goes around? Didn't you say it was in the orbit of the moon?
So this is why it became confusing.
Okay.
So we actually think this is the rocket booster that went to the moon, dropped off an actual satellite Surveyor 2 in the 60s, and then got slung-shot back to Earth, and then got stuck going around the Earth. So this appears to be a human-made thing that really threw some people some confusing, because we thought this was a slow-moving object from the orbit of the moon that we actually thought was going to hit the Earth. Right. Turns out it is going to kind of hit the Earth, but that's because it's intentional, because it's an old rocket booster.
It's space junk.
Yeah, from 50 years ago.
What's the definition? I mean, if something's orbiting, can it still be a mini-moon, even if it is space junk?
Yeah, so I mean, we'd only make the definition of if it's human-made versus artificial, human-made versus natural. Yeah.
Okay. Just finally, there is an all-sky survey that's been completed over the Australian skies.
Yeah, so this is one of the big first results of the Australian Square Kilometre Pathfinder. So this is a huge series of radio dishes out in Murchison, Western Australia. And this is the pre-project for what's going to be a radio telescope that's 1 by 1 kilometre. So we call it the Square Kilometre Array.
Right.
So literally a series of these dishes making up a kilometre by kilometre area.
And this is going to get us clearer pictures,
clearer and deeper.
New things in the sky?
Yeah, so it's kind of like having multiple eyes staring at the sky and adding all of those views to once. They've just released the first observation of over a couple of hundred new million galaxies observed in the pristine radio conditions.
200 million new galaxies.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They have calculated enough. And this is like the pre-experiment. So you can see how big of a thing this is.
Wow.
And again, this is an Australian-led thing.
That's mind-blowing. Are we going to get some new... I mean, we've got the saucepan.
So that's right, yeah.
Are we going to see new things and get some new nicknames, is what I'm asking.
We eventually find new nicknames. In fact, there's already a new one that they're calling a ghostly object / WTF, because we have no idea what it is. It looks like a ghost in space in radio colors.
They're calling it WTF.
Because we don't really know what it is. So maybe we'll find better nicknames, but we're definitely finding some new surprises from these facilities.
How did the saucepan catch on? I mean, someone goes, whenever you look at clouds, you go, oh, that looks like a ship. No, it looks like a middle-aged woman or a man or something.
Yeah.
Who defines it?
The saucepan.
How does it catch on?
So the constellations came from the International Astronomical Union, but lots of cultures have had all those ones. There's lots of Aboriginal constellations, and I think someone just said, looks like a saucepan, and everyone's like, all right. Done.
All right. Well, we look forward to some new nicknames in space. They always intrigue me. And I'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good.